Hello everyone, welcome to UCU Sports Daily. I am your host Ian Asabo. Fantastic Monday all round, and hopefully everyone is doing all right as I try to bring this latest episode. As I communicated earlier, this episode is mainly about how the potential, and I'm going to be breaking down the potential of university sports and why it is actually time that we step away from the national leagues and why we should be able to do that. So I'm going to talk more about basketball this time. This specific topic is about basketball. And before we go anywhere, I'd just like to congratulate City Oilers Basketball Club, who were able to be the first Ugandan side to make it to the Basketball Africa League after they punched their ticket there in Johannesburg over the previous weekend by defeating Urunani 71-62. Yeah, it's fantastic achievement for basketball in Uganda, and hopefully we can be able to take the right strides as we were able to see the last season more competitiveness in the league in terms of the finals with the emergence of the Blazers and all that. Yeah, so shout out to the UCU Canon Old Boys, Fayed Bale, who was able to help his new team. He came off the bench, played a solid 27 minutes, was able to contribute with 12 points. 5 rebounds and 5 assists, as you know, they were able to book their ticket for next year's edition, Season 3 of the Basketball Africa League. Not forgetting Titus Luwal as well, who was able to help the City Oilers as well, came from UCU, as you're able to pick several players from your own local leagues to be able to help you reach the promised land, that is the Basketball Africa League. It is going to be rewarding financially for City Oilers, and yeah, 8-time champions finally get their reward for all that dominance in the Ugandan league. So it's fantastic for an East African team to be able to represent Uganda. So speaking more about basketball, it got me thinking that Fayed Bale and Titus Luwal were able to, leave UCU or, after their studies and be able to join City Oilers. And it just got me thinking, and I was able to do some research and be able to come up with these facts and why basketball, why university sports teams, and in particular basketball, should be able to step aside from the national league and be able to form their own league. I mean, it won't make sense at the moment as I'm speaking right now, but I hope by breaking this down into several aspects, you can be able to establish why we need to do this and why it is the right time to be able to break away and form our own national league, yes, as university basketball leagues. So recently, FUBA was able to appoint a new CEO, Marcus Kwikiriza, and it's fantastic for the game that we're able to see such small changes going on, and hopefully it's for the best, and he will be able to execute some of the works. And all I got to say is this work is cut out because the potential and growth of basketball in this country over the last year has been tremendous with the emergence of the Blazers. As I've told you, you're able to see quite the atmosphere all throughout the playoffs towards the finals and the Game 7. And the atmosphere at the arena shows that the basketball fraternity is actually growing. But we have a challenge. It's that we find that it's only around Kampala and Wakiso, and basketball as a fraternity needs to expand countrywide. I mean, it's a national basketball league, but you can't have the farthest team, let me say from Ndejia. Yeah, that makes things a little bit, compact. We don't need to have basketball in the central region. Let me give an example of Jinja, mad basketball city. Even the national tournaments, national tournaments for basketball, high school, mad cities or wherever they go to, they love their basketball. So why aren't we able to expand and be able to go and expand around the country? He has his work cut out, and I can only wish him the best in his new role. So I was able to do some research, and I realized that there are 8 university teams in the National Basketball League, both men and women. You have UCU, you have Ndeje, KIU, Victoria University, and as well as Nabisunsa as well, who ply their trade in the National Basketball League, the Women National Basketball League, that is. So on average, you have around 120 to 135 players that are being offered maybe, say, school bursaries, and there's no specific salary that they are on. And that is a really damning number in terms of the teams that are taking part in the league and the amount of of time and effort that is being put in by these players. But yes, it is good they are on bursaries, but now that sports has gone to another stratosphere in terms of monetization, I think it is time that we as a fraternity as well start having more cash injected into the league in terms of players receiving salaries, in terms of teams exchanging money. Because let me give an example. Ekon Rose, the female best player of the last season, finals MVP, averaged double all year round, and she's done with her education in UCU. No one knows where she's going to next, and there is not even a glimmer of hope that we are going to retain her as a national league, because there isn't just enough money, circulating around the league to be able to keep her in terms of the best leagues. So it is not a problem for the league. I don't blame it on the league, but I feel it's time for the universities to step up. Because, giving an example, the winners last year took around 5 million shillings. In terms of, the UCU Lady Cannons took a pocket of 5 million shillings, and that's just not That's just not a professional league. We're actually a semi-professional league, and the potential that university sports has is tremendous. I'm going to pick an example, and I look at the bar in terms of the NCAA basketball tournaments. You have that structure in that college athletes or college students, university students here in Uganda are aiming to be able to go to the NBA, which is the top flight league. And the cream de la cream, there is a lot of money in the NBA, but as well as the NCAA, they're able to generate the amount of money through television rights and deals. They were able to sign, recently the NCAA for college football signed a $7 billion deal. Yes, we're not there yet, but it is kind of the bar that we can look at and try to pick a few of their ideas and try and implement them here. I don't think that is something that comes out, that's something that is really bad. We can be able to pick a leaf from what they do, a few things here and there, and be able to implement them in our leagues, and hopefully we can be able to to develop more, because now we have City Oilers in the league. What is next? What's the next step for FUBA and the National Basketball League to be able to promote the game more? There is a lot of potential in university sports. I mean, look at the amount of sponsorship deals waiting to happen. Let me give an example of the Pepsi University Football League. People doubted it in the beginning, in its inception, said with 6 teams, but now look, after 10 years, there are 24 teams. More teams are hoping to join. So it's credit to the Association of University Uganda Sports to be able to bring this initiative of the University Football League. And if they're able to sit down on a round table with FUBA, I know this is, but I'm just trying and paint a picture here. If they're able to sit down and be able to find more privatized, private-owned teams in the league that can be able to contribute to more money generated through corporate sponsorships. That's what the CEO talked about during his interview with NBS Sport I watched quite recently. How are we able to attract the corporate world, to be able to bring in more corporate sponsors into the league, to be able to, generates a lot more money. And how does that come? It comes through players. Basketball is mainly a product-based league. It's the product that people want to see. Who are the stars? What endorsements do they have? How much are they getting? How do they play? It's the product that we're trying to sell here. And if you have more privatized, private-owned teams, that means the league is able to expand countrywide. You have more teams because people are actually willing to, and even your target base continues to grow, just like we saw with the Blazers, who were able to, in their debut season, they changed the landscape of basketball in the country. And that is just an understatement, to say the least. So with the university teams stepping aside, you also have an opportunity to be able to have teams compete at the same level. Fayed Bale and possibly Titus, all indications show that he might join City Oilers, have just left for free to join City Oilers. I mean, UCU played City Oilers in 2019 in the finals, and they have just lost 2 of their best players to City Oilers for free. Where does that leave the competition scale? You're going to find in a few years that these top teams, the private-owned top teams with the money, are going to be able to pick on these university teams, are the best players of the university teams for free. And how does that help the league in terms of competition? There's going to be a gap, and you find that UCU is going to be playing catch-up every single year because they're going to lose their best players to the teams that actually have the money. So if you're to form your own league as a university teams, you're going to be able to have more competition at the same level, because you're going to lose the best players every year. But you keep on scouting, and that helps retain the best players. We help retain the best players. We can give a scenario. This is just picking a leaf as well from the NBA. I mean, if we have a university league, why don't we have a draft after the whole university season? And you have, let me say, 30 of the best players join the National Basketball League. The team that has just been promoted can have the first pick. And we could go on from there. It keeps the players in the country. It keeps a structure rolling, it's a fluid machine. We get to keep the best players in the country. Competition keeps the same competition all throughout. And then basketball as a country is going to, as a country, we get to grow more, because there's so much potential, even with the little investment that has been put into the game. You can see how the national team is performing. The investment into City Oilers, they have just qualified for BAL. So there is so much potential in terms of why we should be able to now decide that university teams at this particular time should be able to form their own league, and we could have a national basketball league. Instead of it being semi-professional, it could now be professional, where you have now all the players at least having a minimum wage. We could then create rankings. I am personally invested in that. I am going to, starting from next season, I am going to be creating rankings based on university teams, assuming that we had an NBL draft. The best first round pick, the second, to try and create that, because all parties need to be involved in this. The media needs to be involved in this. The federation needs to be involved in this. The association needs to be involved in this. Association University Uganda Sports need to be involved, because this is a team effort. It's a collaborative effort. So if we're able to put our heads together and be able to sit down and come up with ways in which we're going to improve the basketball in this country, then that is something I would willingly want to buy. You get me? So yeah, that is really important, because it really hurts that we have our best players actually leaving the country and we're not able to retain them because there's simply no money in the league. FUBA signed let me check my numbers here. FUBA signed a 300 million deal with Tusker Light a few years ago, but there is no accountability to that. And the emergence of NBS and Urban TV covering university sports and the basketball league has increased the platform for these athletes to be able to shine. So in a few years, we are going to ask the question: how is this games being shown on TV going to benefit the athletes financially? The TV rights deals. You sign memorandums, but you don't indicate how much players are going to be able to get and how much money is trickling down to players' pockets. So these are some of the topics that we're going to discuss in details as we progress down the road, as we look forward to the season and we're in the off-season. So it's an advantage to us. So yeah, this comes to the end of UCU Sports Daily. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to bring more discussions on this topic, and yes, this is something that we could be able to look at and be able to dive and discuss and come up with solutions to the ever expanding problem of that is basketball in the country. We need to grow this sport. So yes, thank you. My name is Ian Asabo. Please don't forget to follow UCU Standard, and this show is brought to you by Mr.